Okay, I've just come back from my first run in the new ASICS Novablast 5. I know this is a very hyped shoe, so I wanted to get out some impressions early. So I've taken it for a 12k run this morning with the dogs along the railway line on some smooth dirt tracks. We're back home up on the farm, so excuse the flies as they try to crawl into my mouth. But yeah, I'll give you some first impressions, what I think of this shoe early on, and I'll put a few more Ks in afterwards, get into some more kind of full review territory. So this shoe line is ASICS' kind of fun, lightweight daily trainer. It's in its 5th version now, obviously. The original Novablast was quite a radical shoe, quite unstable, but it had a good level of pop and response. And since then, it's kind of moved into this more lightweight max cushion shoe. And that's what I think that this new Novablast 5 is. We've got 41.5mm of foam in the heel, an 8mm drop. We've got a new Flight Foam Blast Max foam, which to the touch is much softer and more compressive than the outgoing 4, which I felt with the recycled foam, the Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco, such an unnecessarily long name. I felt that foam was pretty dead, pretty firm, didn't have a whole lot of life to it. This kind of, at least to the touch, felt a bit more squishy, like it could have a bit more bounce. The weight of this shoe is coming in at 265 grams, which I think is going to be one of the main attractors to this shoe. It's as light as a speed trainer, but it has all of that cushion. We've got this kind of double layered mesh in the toe box. It's quite thin, breathable, a lot of padding around the heel counter. And then we've got a hard rubber on the outsole, although it is quite smooth. So what's it actually like to run in? After 12Ks of easy running, I can say that this is a soft, compressive, very plush daily trainer. And the main advantage to this shoe is the fact that it is so lightweight. You're not usually going to get this amount of foam, this amount of protection underfoot for 265 grams. And I think that should be the kind of main talking point for this shoe. It's protective, soft, compressive, but also very lightweight at the same time. And I think there's definitely a position for that in the market. A lot of people prefer that softer feel, especially beginner runners. And I think that this is going to work very nicely, especially at a nice affordable price point of 240 bucks. Pretty easy recommendation to get people into running, get them enjoying the sport. But one thing I was kind of thinking about throughout the entire run is that although this is a kind of, nice and soft and cushioned and everything else, it just doesn't really have a whole lot of personality anymore. You know, like the old Novablast used to have a kind of radical bounce out of the forefoot with this rubber pod. The geometric kind of cutouts would compress and give you a good rebound as well. It was kind of unstable, unruly. This shoe here is just a bit of a marshmallow. It doesn't really have anything that kind of sets it apart from the crowd. It's soft and comfortable for sure, but it just doesn't have anything that really makes you want to get up and go. That was kind of the fun of some of the past versions of the Novablast. They were always trying to egg you on, kind of trying to persuade you to pick up the pace during your easy runs when you probably shouldn't. It actually rewarded you as well if you did try and pick up the pace with that bounce out of the forefoot, with that kind of more radical, explosive ride. Here though, this is just cruisy, comfy, soft. It's just not really that kind of, exciting daily trainer anymore. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I still think that this shoe will sell fantastically well. It'll still be very popular, soft, lightweight shoe at a good price point. It's just easy to get on people's feet. But I think for the kind of running nerds with a couple of shoes in their rotation with specific purposes, specific feelings, like I'll reach for the Evo SL if I want something which is kind of smooth and efficient, or I'll reach for the Mizuno Mystery shoe if I want something which is lightweight, squishy and bouncy. But the Novablast 5, other than the fact that it's lightweight and kind of soft, it just doesn't really have any talking points or any kind of features which would make me want to reach for it. Still got a lot of running to do in this shoe for sure. These are just first impressions, but that was kind of the gut feel I was getting. It just doesn't have that kind of personality anymore, and it's kind of just turned into a kind of soft, squishy, marshmallow daily trainer. In terms of the rest of the shoe, the upper is very, very comfortable. That's going to be a bit of a standout. I think it fits true to size, but with extra room in the toe box, both ahead of the toes, bit of extra width as well, which is going to be good news for some people with a slightly wider foot, but for people with a narrow foot, the kind of lace setup might not be super useful. I think something to watch out for. The neoprene style tongue, I think is very similar to what they had in the 4. Very, very comfortable. A lot of padding in the heel counter as well. Very structured too. ASICS do know how to make a structured, comfortable heel counter. On the outsole, the AHA rubber, honestly, it's not even useful telling you how it went because it's completely dry here. Everything's going to grip when it's bone dry. But yeah, overall, 240 bucks. I think this is a decent quality shoe. I don't think anyone can say that this is a bad shoe by any means. I just don't think that it's kind of moving in the same direction that it used to be, which for me, as an OG Novablast fan, is just a little bit disappointing. Few passing comparisons to keep you happy before we get to a full review. The Evo SL, I think, is a better shoe than this, just in terms of the ride, having a bit more of a dynamic feel, smooth rockering sensation, again, has a bit more personality. The upper on the Novablast is better, more comfortable, more locked in. Outsole, who knows in the dry. I think Continental Rubber is personally just a better compound. Mizuno Mystery Shoe is also going to be a strong competitor. $260 for this. It's more bouncy, more compressive, more flexible, and kind of nimble, I suppose. The only thing is the knit upper is probably not going to be for everyone, so that's something to consider there. This is a competitor though, so I think you should be considering this in the next couple of days. December 13th it releases, so the 11th today. Yeah, really great shoe. Should be in a similar category. Another shoe from Adidas, we've got the Adistar 3, which doesn't get talked about a lot. This is a simple, gently rockered, gently squishy daily trainer. Doesn't have a whole lot of personality either. A little bit heavier than the Novablast. The upper is also a smidge better on the Novablast 5. But overall, for $200, I think you're getting a similar level of performance, use case. So it's kind of interesting now that I think that the Novablast has left behind some of those more poppy elements. It's going to start to get some competition from other simple daily trainers as brands start to put better foams into their budget models. So that's another one to consider there. Final comparison is to the New Balance 1080 V14, which I think is now quite a similar shoe in terms of the softness, the protection underfoot, the wide midsole base, plush upper. I think the only difference is going to be the price point and the weight. Somehow, despite the fact that these are both EVA foams, this is much, much heavier. So I think this is about 265. This is approaching 300. I'm pretty sure it's over 300 grams. I'll flash the weight on the screen. So this is a fair bit slower, a bit more sluggish. This has definitely still got the advantage in the weight. So I guess, although I've been a little bit harsh in terms of saying that it doesn't have a whole lot about it, the fact that it's just lighter than other daily trainers, a fair bit lighter than other daily trainers, is just going to make it a bit more accessible, a bit more appealing to most people. $270 for this as well. This is much better value. So yeah, those are some first impressions. Got a fair bit more running to do. I'll try to get it up to 50 or 60 Ks. Got a fair few daily trainers to review at the moment. And then I'll share some more full thoughts, more in-depth comparisons there. I think this is still a good shoe, good weight, good price, nice underfoot feel, but maybe not the kind of, fun poppy trainer that it used to be.